Bismillah Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear viewers, very warm welcome to my vlog series. Dear viewers, on the request of my students and other colleagues to have a talk on the Lahore Fort. So, on the special request, I am going to deliver this talk. The topic is Lahore Fort, the architecture and its surface decoration and overview. So let's start to discuss the different buildings of Lahore Fort. Dear students, just in front of you is the plan of Lahore Fort. This Lahore Fort is situated on the mount, and this mound is an artificial one, not the natural one. To tell you something about the nomenclature of Lahore Fort, the nomenclature as far as this word Lahore is concerned, in different books it has been stated variously. However, one of the most authentic one can be noticed in the account of Ramayana, in which the epic hero Ram son Lo migrated to this part of the world, and here he constructed a fort known as Lo Avar. Avar is the corrupted form of Avarna, a Sanskrit word which stands for fort. In different other sources, it is mentioned as Lo Court. Court, again, a Sanskrit word which means a fort. Dear students and colleagues, thus this Lahore has owed its name from Lo, the son of Rama. It has been narrated in the Ramayana account. Dear students, as far as the history of this Lahore Fort is concerned, that when this fort was constructed, it is generally believed that when the Hindu Shahi dynasty, who started their government around 822 of the Christian era, so when they dominated the Kalar Kahar area, Kalar, one of the kings of the Hindu Shahi dynasty, and Haramin area, the Kalar king area. So onwards they conquered this Lahore, or annexed it in their domain. So here they might have constructed a fort for themselves, and there onward this fort was used by the Hindu Shahi dynasty. However, Thornton, one of the historian, he compiled that on the basis of this low tradition in the Ramayana and the antiquity reported during the course of excavation, it may be dated either by the end of 1st century AD or by the beginning of the 2nd century AD. There is yet another mentioned by Ptolemy in his account that the fort name may be derived from the name Labukla, and this at this particular place Rajput clan migrated, and they settled here around the end of 1st century AD or by the beginning of the 2nd century AD. So thus during the 2nd century AD, the history of this Lahore Fort started, which goes on during the time of the Hindu Shahis, when they reconstructed probably the same fort which was conquered by them. However, in the time of Mahmud of Ghazna, who was on the way to conquer India, he here in around the beginning of 11th century AD ordered to Ayaz for the reconstruction of this fort, and this has been mentioned by Munshi Sujjan Rai in his account compiled by him around 1695-96, that Ayaz, one of the favorite slave, was appointed as a governor, and he was given the order to repair or reconstruct the fort. So he reconstructed the fort with the mud bricks. As far as the other important investigations are concerned, during May 1958 until 13 June 1958, Dr. F.A. Khan conducted excavation inside Lahore Fort, particularly in the front lawn of Diwan-e-Aam. Here he from the depth of 50 feet collected terracotta mother goddesses and terracotta bull figurines, whereas from the 13th layer at the depth of 15 feet he collected a gold coin of Mahmud of Ghazna, which was struck at Ghazni. So this coin is dated to 1015 of the Christian era. Is telling us that probably during this phase of time this fort was reconstructed. Furthermore, around 1186-87, it is said that during this phase of time, Shahabuddin Ghauri, when he came to Lahore, he conquered it and it was reconstructed. So thus the history of Lahore fort started, and eventually in the time of the great Mughal, when Zahiruddin Babur, on the way to Panipat, when he defeated Ibrahim Lodi in 1526, before going there he stayed in the fort of Lahore, and he, in his account Baburnama, which he compiled, he stated that there is a deserted territory where a muddy river Iravati is flowing. There is a small village which is known as Lahore, and here he stayed inside a fort. So by this phase of time this fort was existing. However, when later on his son Humayun came to escape his life when he was defeated by Sher Shah Suri, so he stayed in the fort and he got married with Hamida Bai, and in 1542 at Umarkot, Akbar was born there. So later on, when he came back from Persia via Kabul, and he came to Lahore and he conquered it again in 1555, whereas he died in 1556. His son and successor Akbar came in power, but it is said that in 1566, when he came here, he ordered for the reconstruction of a fort, and the early fort which was existing here was replaced with the burnt brick fort. And during this phase of time, dear viewers, just in front of you on the left side is the monumental gateway, which is called as Akbari Darwaza, and on the either side of this monumental archway are the bastions, and these bastions are surmounted by the battlemented parapet. You can see merlons, crenels. These are some of the important feature of the monumental gateway, and this was constructed by Akbar during his regime in 1566. This Akbari Darwaza is also called as Masti Gate because just in front of this monumental gateway, his Empress Maryam Zamani constructed a mosque which is known as Begum Shahi Mosque or Maryam Zamani Mosque, around 1614. She was the mother of King Jahangir. Thereafter, this gate is also called as Masti Gate. Dear student and colleagues, on the right side of you is the inner detail of this monumental gateway, the facade of the inner side showing balconies. Here the trumpets were used to sit. They were informing the arrival or departure of the king. So again you can see the beautiful detail, and this entire monumental gateway was constructed from burnt brick, and it was plastered beautifully with the lime plaster. Dear viewers, this is one of the second gates of this Lahore Fort. However, this was constructed in the time of the last Mughal, great Mughal emperor Aurangzeb Alamgir during 1673-74, and as you can see that the monumental archway is encased by the outer one, and inside there are machicolation holes through which, in case of any invasion, if the wooden doorway was given fire, so water was thrown to protect the gateway. Moreover, in the tympanum you can see that there are again machicolation for the protection of this monumental gateway. Dear viewers, on the either side of this monumental archway there are fluted shape bastions, and these are surmounted by octagonal shaped pavilion, and the pavilion is crowned by the pent, which is supported by means of brackets, whereas finally it is crowned by domelet. Dear viewers, just in front of you on the left side is the back side detail of the Diwan-e-Am, beautifully constructed in the time of King Akbar, dated to 1566. This monumental Diwan-e-Am structure constructed from burnt bricks, and it is two-storied. The upper story was reserved for the royal figure, where the princes and the empress were supposed to sit to listen the different complaints of the common people. The rooms and the veranda are beautifully adorned by means of some stucco tracery work, as well the soffits, alcove ceiling, and the domical ceilings, the vaulted ceilings, are exquisitely ornamented by means of stucco stalactite work. Both the stucco tracery work, munabbatkari work, or the stucco stalactite work, ghalibkari work, are the two different decorative techniques have been derived from the Persian tradition, where such were used frequently. Here inside, as I mentioned, that these are profusely adorned, the structural composition through geometrical and floral theme. Dear students, in the last slide, on the right side, there is a balcony or jaroka. This jaroka was provided to the Diwan-e-Am during the time of King Jahangir, dated to 1617 and 18. The style of jaroka is clearly in picturing us that the idea has been derived from the monuments, where such can be seen quite frequently, particularly at Gujarat, and inside the monument of Fatehpur Sikri. The use of jarokas or balconies are quite beautifully adopted and have been used. So this is one of the indigenous style of architecture which can be seen and provided to the front side of the Diwan-e-Am. As far as this left side pillared veranda or the colonnade of pillars is concerned, it was constructed in the time of King Shah Jahan, dated to 1631-32. The idea was to shelter the common people who were visiting this place, and they were registering their complaints before the royal figure, so to protect them from the humidity as well from rain. So this veranda was prepared. Now this veranda is raised on the platform. The style of it is embellished with dasa or the floral decoration. Furthermore, the floor is paved with slabs, and the pillars are so attractive. The base is square, and it is on either side provided with a floral pattern carved in low relief, whereas the shaft is multifaceted, which is one of the styles of the Shah Jahan period, who is mentioned as engineer king of the subcontinent. In some cases, these multifaceted shaft constructed from red sandstone is showing some scrolls carved in low relief, whereas the capital above are showing the honeycomb pattern carved in low relief, and up above these capitals are supporting the pointed arches. So the colonnade veranda or the arcaded veranda, when you can see the rows of pillars, so such is called as colonnade, or if the veranda is being supported by means of arches, so that is called as the arcaded veranda. However, the ceiling was replaced during the British period, and it was converted into a hospital where patients or the wounded soldiers were kept inside. As far as inside, you can see the Jaroka, which was provided during the Jahangir period. So dear viewers, now the left side details, as you can see, the colonnade of pillars and the arcaded format and supporting the British period ceiling. It was actually provided the framed vaulted ceiling, and that has been damaged. As far as the other details are concerned, that it was the building was constructed in the time of King Akbar. Jharoka or balcony was provided during the time of Jahangir, whereas the veranda was provided in the time of King Shah Jahan. Now, dear students, just in front of you is the Jahangir quadrangle. This is also called as the Jahangir Badi Khwabgah, or the Jahangir sleeping chamber, or the Jahangiri palace, just in front of you. And the Charbagh pattern. The idea of Charbagh style is taken from the Persian tradition, where such gardens were provided, and from there this idea has been taken. As I mentioned, that Sher Shah Suri, when captured the seat of government, Humayun ran away, escaped his life, and he has been to Persia, where he married with one of the ruler's daughter, Haji Begum, and he stayed there as an exiled king for about 13-14 years, and when via Kabul he came to Lahore, and from there he captured or regained his power. So the ideas, a lot of ideas which he learned there have been duly acknowledged by the great Mughals here on the soil of the subcontinent. So the platform which you can see. This platform, including the fountain, were replaced by the British rule over the subcontinent with the tennis court. However, Waliullah Khan in 1958 converted it again into the typical Charbagh style, which was here located once at this particular place. Now this Jahangir Khwabgah is converted into a Mughal museum, whereas on the right side the picture is showing the stucco stalactite work or Ghalibkari work. A kind of work has been derived from Persia and is provided to the vaulted ceiling of Jahangir Palace, and you can see at the rear side the original work. However, the remaining work has been redone recently. Dear viewers, on the east and western side of Jahangir Quadrangle are located the eastern Dalan, a veranda at the front, and the sleeping chamber at the back side, and the basement rooms or the summer rooms are located. Both these dalans or verandas or the back structures constructed from red sandstone, and the rear buildings were constructed from burnt brick and lavishly plastered with stucco plaster. As far as the front veranda is concerned, red sandstone pillars with base square carved with the floral pattern, the shaft, multifaceted shaft conceived through the scrolls. Rosettes can be seen in low carving, whereas the capital is surmounted by means of abacus, and the abacus is crowning the different animal figures like lions, elephants, and on the right side you can see that an elephant is standing, and you can see a stylobate which is decorated by means of floral decoration. Stalagmite can be seen, and on the left side you can see the serpentine shaped capitals, typical traditional brackets which have been derived from the Gujarati style, where such were frequently provided to the temples. So during the Mughal period, the Rajasthani style, the Gujarati style, the Bengali style, and this Fatehpur Sikri style, Persian style, and the Central Asian traditions were used combinedly, and a new form of architecture was evolved during the Mughal period. Now, on the left side, you can see the eastern Dalan. As I mentioned, that the veranda is completely constructed from the red sandstone. You can see pillars. You can see that how the chajja, which is slightly projected downward, being supported by means of serpentine shaped brackets, and the pillars are crowned by the animal figures, and in between you can see a perforated screen because Lahore here the temperature is so warm during the summer, so these perforated screens are creating a pleasing atmosphere, particularly at the inner rooms. And just below the platform you can see where steps are provided, and in between you can see some perforated ventilator. So through these perforated ventilator, the fresh air can go inside, and where the basement buildings were creating a pleasing atmosphere as well inside. Dear students and colleagues, just in front of you is the very beautiful monument known as the Saidari Pavilion, or the pavilion with three entrances. Dear viewers, this very beautiful building is rectangular in shape, and the upper part, particularly the cornice molding, where the pent is provided or chajja is provided. This chajja is being supported by means of the serpentine shaped brackets, and these are supporting the chajja, whereas the semicircular at the center and slightly projecting downward on the side. The dome which is provided is curly in shape, and inside there are three cells. The central one is larger in size, whereas the flanking sides are squarish, whereas the central one is rectangular in shape. The flanking are provided with the domical ceiling, and the central one is provided with the vaulted ceiling. The one of the striking feature of this Saidari Pavilion, beside its architecture, is the fresco bono paintings. Fresco bono is a kind of technique through which colors are provided on the wet plaster. So the paintings are penetrated deep in the core of the plaster, so such paintings are more durable. These paintings are so important because the Christian shadows or the Western shadows can be seen. Particularly some mural paintings are depicting that Saint Gregory, Saint Thomas, and some fairies can be seen inside, which are so exquisitely provided with the different color combination. However, these paintings were redone during the British period, and these paintings were plastered with whitewash, and most of the paintings were destroyed. However, during the time of the Department of Archaeology and Museum, Government of Pakistan, particularly under Waliullah Khan, and later on by Safdar Khan, one of the conservation officer, they removed the whitewash, and the painted panels were exposed. These paintings executed here are showing the Western impacts as well. Some of the dresses are showing the Central Asian tradition, and there are certain figures which are showing that the traditional or indigenous culture has been also used here to decorate the interior fresco bono paintings. Dear viewers, as I have shown the Saidari Pavilion, this building was constructed in the time of King Jahangir, dated to 1617 and 18. Dear viewers, on the right side is a very beautiful painted scene. This photo has been taken from the Turkish bath, which was constructed on the southwestern corner of Jahangir Quadrangle. Now that has been converted into office, and this when the Sikh under Ranjit Singh, one of the great ruler of the great Punjab, his capital city was Lahore, or this was used as a seat of government as well. When they captured, when the paintings were defaced here, again during the Sikh period, paintings were done, and the technique for the mural paintings under the Sikhs was used as fresco secco painting. During the fresco secco, paintings were executed on the dry plaster. Only sprinkling of water was used before colors were applied. So this lady or female figure is standing clad in the traditional dress, the typical Punjabi dress, and showing the traditional style of painting. Whereas the painting just in front of you or on your left side is taken from the Turkish bath. This Turkish bath is located inside the Shahjahani quadrangle, particularly on the southwestern part of the Shahjahani quadrangle, and it is showing the different details. However, the lower part of the ceiling is showing stucco stalactite work, very exquisitely provided. Dear students and colleagues, this stucco stalactite work is providing stability or reinforcing the superstructure to provide support to the structure. This stucco stalactite has been provided, but when over the structure plaster has been provided, so the imitation has been drawn to keep alive the stucco stalactite work, and it is turned into tiny niches, chain pattern. These are all together drawn to create the same effect. Dear students and colleagues, just in front of you on your left side is the Makatib Khana or the clerk's offices. Just in front of you is the monumental gateway inframed by rectangular panel, and the inner arch is placed in the monumental arch, which is the outer one. The alcove ceiling is exquisitely ornamented by means of stucco stalactite work, and it is furthermore decorated by means of fresco Bono paintings. However, the frontal part is provided with the inscription, and this inscription is indicating that Karim Khan, on the order of King Jahangir, constructed this Makatib Khana around 1617 and 1880, and this inscription is composed in Nastaliq style. As far as on the either side buildings which are located, these smaller cells were used as a office, and different type of clerks who were sitting here to do the administrative affairs. Whereas on the right side, these are the clerk offices at the inner side, and you can see on one of the sides, particularly at the center, a monumental arch, and it is provided to keep alive the symmetry in the entire monument. And you can see arches are provided at the front, and at the inner side these are the smaller cells were used as an office. The entire structure has been constructed from burnt brick, and later on these were plastered. As far as the frontal veranda, which is on the left side, red sandstone is used. Dear students, just in front of you on the left side is the facade or the front screen of Moti Masjid or Pearl Mosque. This Pearl Mosque is said to have been constructed by King Jahangir. However, the style of architecture of Shah Jahan is clearly visible. During Shah Jahan period, white marble was frequently used, engraved arches, the engaged columns, the multifaceted shafts, the bulbous dome or the perfect domical ceilings, the use of Pietradio work, which can be seen here, is very much keeping close affinity with the work of Diwan-e Khas and Navlaka Pavilion. Both were constructed in the time of King Shah Jahan, dated to 1645. Therefore, on the basis of keeping close affinity with those two buildings which I mentioned before you, this Moti Masjid may be also dated to the same period, 1645 of the Christian era. Dear viewers, the parapet is clearly in picturing us that the Pietra work has been exquisitely provided. Pietra work, the idea of this particular technique has been derived from Florentine mosaic in the Roman world around 1st, 2nd century AD. Such type of work was provided, and from there the idea has been derived, and it was for the first time adopted in the tomb of Etimad Dawla, located on the Indian soil, dated to 1626 of the Christian era. He was the father-in-law and father of Nur Jahan, father-in-law of King Jahangir. So from there this idea has been later on provided to the buildings constructed particularly in the time of King Shah Jahan, and the earliest example can be seen in the tomb of King Jahangir at Shadara, dated 1627 till 1637, when the fabulous Jahangir tomb was completed. So here inside Lahore Fort, this is one of the first of its kind that this Pietra work was used. Dear students, the Pietra work is a kind of inlay work. However, precious or semi-precious stones are used. It is very minute and delicate type of work. And it has enhanced the grace of the entire structural composition. Dear viewers, you can see that the central dome is bulbous. This is double dome, and you can see on the left side that the dome is provided at the summit, inverted lotus, and the finial is marking erected at the center. Dear students, these two photographs are showing the details of the interior side of the Moti Masjid or Pearl Mosque. To tell you something more about the Pearl Mosque, there are 3 Pearl Mosques inside the Indo-Pak subcontinent. One, the earliest one, is here in the Lahore Fort, constructed by King Shah Jahan, dated to 1645, whereas the second one is located inside Agra Fort, dated to 1654 of the Christian era, whereas the third one is assigned to the time of King Aurangzeb, constructed at Delhi, dated to 1662. So these are the internal detail. You can see the engraved arches. You can see that how squinches are provided to support the domical ceilings, and how wonderfully this entire prayer chamber has been finished with white marble. Dear student, right now in front of you is the Shahjahani quadrangle. You can see that this Shahjahani quadrangle or Shahjahani sleeping chamber or Shahjahani Khwabgah or Shahjahani palace, the interior, the facade is showing the arches, and at the inner side I will show you later on the rooms and how the rooms were constructed. You will see them also, but right now just in front of you is the facade of this beautiful palace or the front screen. Dear students, just in front of you the details of this Shahjahani Khwabgah. You can see that the vaulted ceiling, the domical ceilings, the arches, you can see the stucco tracery work alongside the mirror work is exquisitely provided. Dear students, these are the two different perforated screens. On the left side is purely conceived from white marble. provided to the central sleeping chamber of King Shah Jahan. This Shahjahani quadrangle was constructed from 1631 to 32, and the right one is showing the red sandstone perforated screen, and very beautifully constructed, and creating grace in the entire structural composition. Dear students, right now you can see the vaulted ceiling, beautifully decorated by means of stucco stalactite work, whereas mirror work has been also provided to create grace in the entire structural composition. Whereas one of the room on the right side is clearly in picturing us that how above the dado level stucco tracery work has been provided, showing different floral pattern, whereas the dado level is completely decorated, completely faced with white marble. As far as the cornice molding is concerned, further up you can see that how the stucco tracery work has been provided, and the soffits as well as the vaulting are provided with stucco stalactite work. Dear viewers, the left one picture is clearly in picturing us that below the vaulted ceiling up to the dado level, the whole wall surface has been divided into different panels, rectangular, square, and arches are provided. All of them are beautified by means of stucco tracery work or munabbatkari work, whereas the vaulted ceiling is clearly in picturing us that stucco stalactite work has been provided with the support of mirror work, creating grace in the entire structural composition. As far as the right picture is concerned, here two royal figures are sitting. The male figure is sitting on a chair, whereas the female figure is sitting on the couch, and in background there are peacocks, and at the rear side there is a railing, and it is clearly in picturing us that perhaps the idea of the background is taken from the Shalimar Garden. The painting is executed through the fresco bono technique, a kind of technique through which paintings were executed on the wet plaster. Dear students, just in front of you on the left side is Diwan-e Khas. This Diwan-e Khas was constructed for the special people, where the special people like nobility, bureaucrats, the army personnels like journals, and other people like governors, when they have some complaints and when they want to meet or desire to meet with the royal figure, so this was the place where they were meeting with the king. This Diwan-e Khas was constructed during 1645. As I mentioned before, talking in the case of Moti Masjid, that the Pearl Mosque or Moti Masjid is bearing close affinity with this marvelous building. Here the multifaceted shaft, the style of the base capitals are provided, honeycomb design, the brackets provided to the pent, and especially the engraved arches constructed from white chased marble, the parapet veneered through the Pietra work. Same type of design can be seen over here. At the rear side, perforated screens are provided, constructed from white marble, and but at the inside the garden, made through in the charbagh pattern, the platform from white marble. This is termed as mahtabi, And this mahtabi, or the white marble platform, particularly at the top, there is a cistern or a small fountain, and on the either side, the musician were supposed to sit here, and they were singing songs or playing with the musical instruments during the full moon, or in the silver moon. They were performing their art just before the king and his other employees. As far as this right side building is concerned, it is just on the right side of the Diwan-e Khas, and here the king servants were supposed to live to support the king or the royal figure. As far as the left side picture is showing the dressed marble ceiling, which is framed vaulted, and the engraved arches are very beautifully provided and showing the interior detail. As far as the right side photo is concerned, it is showing one of the balcony constructed in the typical Gujarati style, where the Hindu buildings or the Hindu temples were provided such jharokas or balconies, and these are very commonly provided to the Fatehpur Sikri monuments as well in the Agra Fort. Such can be seen here. One of the exquisite style has been constructed in the time of King Shah Jahan. You can see the combination of red sandstone and different perforated screen from the red sandstone, and in between white marble has been also used. Now this is the cistern provided at the inner side of Diwan-e Khas, and this cistern or this fountain is exquisitely decorated by means of Petre Dura work. However, the Petre Dura work precious stones have been damaged during the Sikh domain, as well as the remaining side on the outer part of this cistern. You can see inlay work, marble inlay work. So there is a difference between the Petre Dura work or marble inlay work. In marble inlay work, ordinary marble stones have been used, whereas in the Petre Dura work only precious stones are used, and this work is very delicate and tiny in approach as compared to the marble inlay work. On the right side is the perforated screen constructed from white marble, and the different perforated parts are showing the hexagonal, octagonal, pentagonal, and these are showing at their inner side such as sawtooth pattern and divided into different panels, creating grace in the entire structural composition. And just outside this Diwan-e Khas, which is on the outer side, is showing the picture wall once river Iravati or the modern Lahore was flowing. Dear student, on the left side, this picture is showing the Petre Dura work, which I told you can be seen on the parapet of Diwan-e Khas, as well on the parapet of Moti Masjid, and this sort of work can be also seen on the parapet of Navlaka Pavilion, and all these three buildings are dated to 1645 of the Christian era. Now, whereas the right side picture is showing the marble intarsia work, opus sectile or marble inlay work. In such a type of work, larger size stones as per desired plan or design or pattern. These were cut and dressed and then duly fixed on the engraved surface for this particular shape. Dear student, on the right side, the picture is telling us the story about the Payin Bagh or the Ladies' Garden. Again, it is in the Char Bagh pattern. And the left side picture is showing the three entrances pavilion. This small pavilion is beautifully constructed, and the important feature of this wonderfully constructed pavilion is the chajja or the pent or the eave, which is curly, and this type of curly chajja was so commonly used at Bengal, so this is termed as the Bengali chajja, and this Bengali chajja is supported by means of serpentine shaped brackets. This was for the royal ladies. Dear viewers, the Payin Bagh was constructed in the time of King Shah Jahan, dated to 1631-32, and just in front of you is this monumental gateway to the forecourt of Sheesh Mahal. This was constructed in the time of King Shah Jahan, dated to 1632, and the soffit just in front of you is showing the fresco Bono paintings, whereas the domical ceiling is also showing paintings. As far as the on the left side, you can see brick imitation work or the tazakari work. This kind of idea has been taken from the Persian tradition and used so frequently in the time of the great Mughals. As far as the spandrels are showing the medallions floral in pattern. Passing through this gateway, monumental gateway, to the forecourt of Sheesh Mahal. Now we are in the courtyard of the Sheesh Mahal, and just in front of you is the Agdara pavilion. Since 8 entrances are provided to this marvelous pavilion, which is raised on the red sandstone platform, and the chajja or the parapet is constructed from perforated screen. Dear viewers, this Agdara pavilion was constructed in the time of King Ranjit Singh, one of the great rulers of the great Punjab. His domain was started during 1799 of the Christian era and lasted by 1839. And this Agdara pavilion has been constructed in his time, probably around 1821, 22 or 33, or might be a bit early or later. Anyhow, this was constructed from the spoils or those buildings which were damaged or plundered or spoiled. Those material was collected, and from those spoiled material this Agdara pavilion was constructed. Dear students and colleague, inside this Agdara pavilion, just above the dado level, up to the cornice molding, there are different type of scenes from Basant or this kiting festival is one of the main feature of the Hindu community and Sikh community, and quite frequently they are celebrating this particular festival. Beside the Basant scenes, there are Holi scene. Holi is one of the other religious festival like Basant, which is also one of the religious festival of the Hindu mythology or Hindu religion. So beautiful paintings can be seen inside. Since these paintings during the Ranjit Singh period were painted through the fresco secco technique, and such type of colors are provided on the dry plaster, therefore the colors are not penetrated deeper, remained on the surface, therefore such paintings are less durable. Moreover, the framed ceiling is made through the wooden painted paneling work, a kind of work which is very common inside Kashmir, particularly in the time of King Zainul Abidin around the 15th century of the Christian era, and they are very commonly used. From there the great Mughal adopted it and they used it in their palaces. So in the Ranjit Singh period, the ceiling of this Ardara pavilion has been also constructed and decorated by means of wooded painted paneling work, and of course this is locally termed as Tarsim Bandi or Tarsim Kari. As far as up above the pavilion with the low or shallow dome, and right at the center there is a finial, and you can see a smaller ventilator. This was a small chamber where Ranjit Singh used to sit there and enjoying the surrounding area of Lahore. Dear student, just in front of you on the left side is the Sheesh Mahal, showing the cusp arches and this arcaded veranda, whereas the chajja or pent is supported by means of the serpentine shaped capitals, and you can see the Ranjit Singh pavilion up above on the right side of this picture. And right at the center of this courtyard you can see a platform known as Mahtabi. On the silver moon night the musician used to sit here to play with the musical instrument. As far as the right side picture is concerned, this is showing the inner part of the veranda, and you can see the multifaceted columns made from white marble. You can see the capitals veneered through the honeycomb pattern, and you can see the spandrels decorated by means of Pietra work. The theme of decoration is arabesque floral in pattern, and the bases are decorated by means of Pietra work, where precious stones have been used. As far as the entire flooring of this veranda is done through the marble inlay work or opus sectile or marble intarsia. As far as the dado level is concerned, it is tiled with white marble, whereas just above the dado level up to the cornice molding, the entire has been marvelously ornamented by convex glasses. Therefore it is called as Sheesh Mahal or the mirror work. The idea was used for the first time at Aleppo in Sham in Syria, and from there it was disseminated to Central Asia, to Iran, and from there it was derived by the Mughal emperor, and they duly acknowledged this wonderful kind of work in their palaces. The ceiling is also exhibiting the mirror work, and you can see just above the dado level there are panels. These panels were once decorated by means of fresco Bono paintings during the Mughal period. However, later on when these paintings were damaged, these were redone during the Ranjit Singh period through fresco secco technique, and showing the different type of scenes from the Hindu mythology. and the colors are not deeply rooted, as I mentioned before you in the case of fresco bono technique. Here in this case, the paintings remained on the surface and a bit dim or with the dust. The shiny colors are now very fade. As far as the mirror work is concerned, you can see different type of fruits like watermelon, bananas, apple, grapes placed in the trays, and there are some parrots, sparrows, different type of cypress trees, and floral and geometrical patterns. Some vases can be seen, enhancing the grace of the entire structural composition. Dear students, both these pictures are showing the different details of the glass mosaic ornamentation. Again, the left one is showing the glass mosaic ornamentation. The interior rooms are beautified with the glass mosaic ornamentation, whereas the right picture is of the central chamber of Sheesh Mahal and showing a white marble perforated screen and very exquisitely composed, enhancing the grace of the entire structural composition. Again, the two structure showing the alcove ceilings painted with the different floral and geometrical patterns executed through the fresco bono technique. Now, besides the inner detail of Sheesh Mahal, now just in front of you, the two bases of the Sheesh Mahal marble multifaceted pillars are showing the Pietra Dura work during the Shah Jahan period. Dear viewers, now we are standing in the veranda of Sheesh Mahal, and just in front of Sheesh Mahal is the chambers. The inner side are richly decorated, and one of the picture on your right side is showing that the paintings have been redone during the Sikh period, and one of the epic story, a mythological story of God Vishnu, who got the form of Varaha, and his lower part is in the form of fish when he jumped into the inside the ocean, and to protect the Prithvi, the earth, the mother goddess, and when he brought the Prithvi from the beneath the ocean and protected it, so this legend has been profusely adorned here. Now, dear students, on the left side is the Naulaka Pavilion. Since this building was constructed at the cost of 9 lakh rupees, thereafter it has been termed as Naulaka Pavilion. The central arch is engraved in composition. The curly pint or chajja, a Bengali chajja supported by means of serpentine shaped brackets. You can see that the Pietra Dura work provided to the parapet, which is very much identical to the Diwan-e Khas and Moti Masjid, and this Naulaka Pavilion was constructed during 1645. The facade of this Naulaka pavilion is clearly indicating that there are panels, and these panels are showing Peter Dura work marvelously inlaid with the precious stones. The inner side above the dado level up to the cornice molding are decorated with the fresco Bono paintings, whereas the ceiling has been veneered through the wooden painted paneling work with the combination of glass mosaic. As far as the right one is concerned, showing on the right side, the extreme right end, the Shish Mahal, and the left one is yet another pavilion where the noble class was supposed to sit here, and the Naulaka pavilion for the royal figures. Next. Dear viewers, the left photo is showing the Naulaka pavilion perforated screen, and the right one is showing the honeycomb pattern of the capital, and the abacus over which the serpentine shaped brackets are placed are clearly in picturing us the beautiful Peter Dura work. Dear viewers, as I mentioned before you, that the ceiling of Naulaka pavilion is veneered by means of wooden painted paneling work with the combination of glass mosaic work. These two pictures are clearly in picturing us that the frontage of or the facade of this Naulaka pavilion is exquisitely ornamented through the Peter Dura work, and these two floral vases are beautifully inlaid by means of Peter Dura technique. Dear students, the left photo is showing the summer palace or the underground chamber of Shish Mahal, constructed during the time of King Shah Jahan, dated to 1631-32, and the right one is showing the squinch, and above beautifully decorated through the fresco Bono painting, showing floral and geometrical designs. Dear students, this photo is showing the elephant steps or the elephant pair from Shish Mahal when the king or the empress were sitting in the elephant palanquin. So they were through these steps the elephants were descending and were then going out through the Shah Burj gate. As well, at the extreme left corner you can see the doorway portion. This is actually an entrance to the summer palace or to the basement chamber constructed during the Shah Jahan period around 1631-32. Dear student, this entrance was actually constructed in the time of King Shah Jahan, dated to 1632, and it is called as Musamman Burj or Musamman Archway or Jasmine Burj. This was constructed by Shah Jahan, and this was used for the nobility and for the common people, and this was constructed by King Shah Jahan. Dear student, on the left side is the Shah Burj gateway, the monumental gateway used to in or out by the royal figures, constructed in the time of King Shah Jahan during 1631-32, and an inscription has been provided which is saying that Mamur Khan was the engineer, and he was ordered by King Shah Jahan to construct to supervise the constructing activities. This monumental gateway has been richly adorned by means of tile mosaic ornamentation or glazed mosaic ornamentation, whereas on the right side you can see a floral plant, a floral ornamentation, very beautifully done through the tile mosaic ornamentation. Dear students, just in front of you on the right side is the picture wall. The picture wall construction was started in the time of King Jahangir around 1624, 25, 26, 27. However, when he died in 1627 while coming back from Kashmir at Rajouri, he died. So this project was then completed by his son and successor Shah Jahan until 1632. So this picture wall on the right side and left side photographs are clearly in picturing us that through the tile mosaic ornamentation or glass or glazed tile mosaic ornamentation, different scenes or portraits have been provided as a mural work, and you can see different scenes such as elephant or animal war scenes, the palanquin scenes, the chariots, musical scenes, dancing scenes, and some war scenes are beautifully provided on the picture wall. Once river Ravi was flowing close to this wall, but now it has gone quite away from this particular portion. So dear students and colleague, these were some of the details regarding the Lahore Fort. So I hope you might have enjoyed all these information. So thank you, God bless you, best of luck, thank you, bye bye.